outside my family knew that whistle. There is a jar on my shelf with something of my uncle sealed inside it. It has been there 11 years. Last week it changed. His name was Ovide Guidry, 51 years old, commercial crabber out of Chauvin, Louisiana. 31 years on that water. He went out on a Tuesday in August to run his traps in Bayou Petit Caillou. The next morning, his truck was still sitting at the launch with the driver's door unlocked. He never left it unlocked. Not once in 31 years. I gave the sheriff's office a version of that night. I gave his wife a shorter one. 4 people have asked me for the whole of it, and 4 times I have told them no. So, what I heard in the cane, what I did that I cannot undo, and what is in that jar. Then I am going to stop talking about it. Ovide should have been home before sunset. His truck was still at the launch. His empty thermos in the cup holder, the driver's door unlocked. He never left it unlocked. His route was marked in grease pencil on the lid of the bait cooler. The sheriff's office said they would start from the launch at first light. I said I would wait there. Instead, I took our smaller skiff. I was following the route he had planned that morning. I called his name. I listened for an engine, a shout, anything human. The channel narrowed until the cane leaned over both sides. My running light showed me no further than the stalks. I was fine. I knew the turns by sound. Open water carries the engine low and wide. A narrow cut throws it back at you. Near the old washout, the prop nut goes thin because the bottom rises. He taught me that route and the whistle on a morning I could not see the bow of our own boat. Again, he said, sharp on the front, cut the back one off. I got it wrong 4 times. Sharp, then short. So I know it's you and not some fool with a whistle. Then he did it once, perfectly, and made me match him. Now you can't get lost, he said. Not for me. That night, the marsh was off before anything else happened. My wake returned too soon. The splash followed me without falling into rhythm. And every few minutes, I heard that whistle. Always 2 notes. Always the pause between them a little too long. I reached Ovide's first string of floats. They rose and fell beside the boat, pale in the running light. I counted them as I passed. 1, 2, 3. At the 4th, something struck the underside of the skiff. Not hard. Just one slow knock beneath my boots. I shifted into neutral. The smell came up immediately. Wet fur, rust, mud from deep under the roots, where the water turns black when you disturb it. I leaned over without switching on the spotlight. There is nothing beside the hull. No bubbles, no wake. Then fingernails dragged from the bow to the stern underneath me. They moved slowly enough that I heard every seam in the aluminum. A voice below the boat said, "You can stop looking now." It sounded like Ovide after a long day when his throat got rough from engine smoke. I could not answer. The voice said my name, not the name everybody used. The one Ovide called me when I was little. Then it laughed once, under the water. Ovide never laughed like that. I pushed the throttle forward. The motor caught, and the skiff jumped hard enough to throw me against the bench. Something struck the bottom again and stayed with me. The whole bowed upward between my feet. I heard weight move beneath the bow, keeping pace without splashing. I turned into the next cut too fast. Cane scraped both sides. One stalk snapped across my shoulder, and the broken edge opened the skin over my knuckles when I grabbed it. The smell thickened. It was not coming from the bank. It was inside the boat. I looked down. Black water trembled around my boots, no deeper than the sole. It had come through no leak I could find. In it floated strands of coarse hair. I killed the running light. Darkness closed over everything. I could still hear the hull ticking and my own breathing. Far ahead, water moved around something standing where the channel should have been. The water divided around it with a slow, steady hiss. The sound of current passing around pilings. Whatever stood there did not shift when the boat drifted closer. It waited for the sound of me. I told myself it was a cypress knee. There are no cypress trees in that stretch. The whistle sounded again. This time it came from my mouth. I felt the two notes leave me soft and clean. Before I knew, I had taken a breath. The thing ahead answered. Most of the rules people give you about the water are about the water. Do not go out alone. Do not go out drunk. Watch the sky in the west. Those are old rules and good ones. And every one of them was written down by somebody who came back. This is not one of those rules. The rules that matter out there are the ones nobody teaches you. Because nobody who learned one came back able to explain it. He has answered twice now. Nobody told him not to. I reversed until the prop chewed mud. The engine screamed. The stern swung against the cane, and something rushed through the grass beside me. I never saw a body. I heard shoulders forcing stalks apart. I heard 4 feet become 2. I heard breathing rise from animal height to the height of a man. Then Ovide's voice called from far behind me. "Don't let it cut you." The thing in the cane repeated him from beside my ear. "Don't let it cut you." I drove the skiff onto a mud shelf. The motor climbed out of the water and shrieked. I went over the bench and landed with both hands in the mud. Something entered the boat behind me. The aluminum floor gave one deep complaint under its weight. I crawled into the cane. The mud took one chew. Grass sliced my arms. I kept moving because the boat had gone silent, and that silence meant whatever climbed aboard had climbed out again. A whistle moved through the cane to my left. Another answered on my right. Then one came from directly ahead. I stopped. The smell was strongest there. Wet hide, old iron, Ovide's cigarettes. Something breathed on the other side of the stalks. I could hear saliva working between its teeth. It said, "Where are you?" That was what the whistle meant. I backed away. A hand came through the cane and closed around my wrist. I felt fingers first. Long, jointed, almost human. The nails pressed into my skin. I drove the broken cane stalk into whatever held me. It screamed in 2 voices. One was an animal. The other begged me not to pull away. I pulled. The nails opened my forearm. free of my hand. Warm liquid struck my knuckles and entered the cut I had made on the boat. The grip vanished. I ran toward the engine sound. There was no engine running. The noise was coming from the thing behind me, growling in the exact pitch of our outboard. It coughed. The pitch changed. Then the real motor turned over at the mud shelf. Someone had started my boat. The running light came on. Through the cane, I saw a narrow shape, standing at the tiller. Its back was bent beneath the black jacket Ovide wore for rain. Its head leaned too far forward. One arm hung beside the console, longer than the other. It whistled. 2 short notes. I answered before I could stop myself. The shape turned toward my voice. I dropped flat as it dented the cane. It did not charge. It listened. That was worse. Every time I breathed, it took one careful step. Every time my clothes touched the grass, it changed direction. I pressed my face into the mud and held still. The smell passed over me. Claws touched the ground beside my cheek. They tapped once, twice, then they moved away. I stayed down until the boat motor faded through the channels. I walked until dawn. The shrimp boat found me near Bayou Petit Caillou. I told them I had grounded the skiff and lost my uncle while searching, and that was close enough to the truth. Search crews found my boat 2 days later. It was tied at the launch with Ovide's knot. The fuel tank was empty. The floor was clean. They found no blood, no hair, and no damage beneath the hull. They did not find Ovide. His wife asked me whether he had called for her. No, I said. My mother asked whether I had heard him out there at all. No. Both women watched me lie. After that, I stopped sleeping through the night. I would wake with my feet wet and the room smelling of iron. Mud appeared beneath my window, even when the yard was dry. Once, I found 3 crab floats arranged beside my bed. I burned them. The next morning, they were hanging from my porch, knocking softly against the posts. I started following rules nobody taught me. I shut the windows before dark. I kept salt beside the bed, though I could not have said why. I never answered a whistle outside. I stopped visiting my aunt because her dog would flatten itself beneath the table when I entered. I stopped working with the men who had known Ovide. They heard the whistle before I did. Nobody said where it came from. Ovide's truck disappeared from the launch. Nobody in the family admitted moving it. There is one thing I never told the search crews. I found something in the bait box after sunrise, beneath the knife and the spare line. It had not been there when I left the dock. A wedding ring. I washed it until the water ran clear, then sealed it inside a glass jar. Ovide's name was engraved inside. So was the date he married my aunt. The ring would not pass the first joint of my finger. Last night, after I woke, standing barefoot at the edge of the bayou, I tried it again. It fits now. I do not whistle back anymore. I can no longer hear the space between my own 2 notes. I whistle first. The Rougarou is almost never a wolf. Ask the people who say they have seen one, and they will tell you a dog, or an owl, or something they could not finish describing. It does not kill. No Louisiana account has one taking a life. It only wants out. The folklorists have a name for the way out. Motif? D712.4. Disenchantment by drawing blood. It has to open your skin. Then the curse is yours, and it walks away human. Almost none of this survives on paper. Very likely, the largest collection of these accounts anyone ever gathered was lost or thrown out before a single scholar read a page of it. What is left is nearly all first person, adults, some of them unwilling to tell an outsider at all. You were told tonight, and this is Urban Dread. The city never sleeps, and neither should you.